What's going on, guys? Wanted to review another tool in the shop that I've recently got. This is a Delta Shaper. It's an older model. It runs on 110. It's got a 3/4 bore shaper spindle, and I put a custom cutter on this that I'll review in a second. But essentially, this is a shaper. It spins around and cuts like a big table router. The head is raised and lowered on this spindle. And what's really neat about this is when I'm running the bigger bits on my table router, there's a lot of vibration and it leaves a really rough cut on the edge of the guitar body. Then I have to sand, and I finally decided to go back to this machine. I had a Grizzly Shaper years ago, and I put a big 4-inch bit on it to shape guitar bodies, and that was absolutely terrifying to use, and I didn't like it. So I dumped that machine before I moved to Nashville, and now that I've been getting into a lot of guitar bodies again, I decided to run with this. The cut on this is extremely clean. This is white and red oak, and really happy with the way this works out. I know a lot of you guys are terrified to run a big bit on this, and I am myself, but it's really nice to use. This is a custom cutter that I built. I was trying to find a bit that was smaller in diameter that I could run with a bearing. This is a 1 7/8 wing cutter, straight edge, carbide tipped cutter. I stacked I don't know, 8 of these together. Actually, no, 9 of these together, a little bit over 2 inches. I've got a 1 7/8 bearing up on the top and on the bottom. And so I can route relatively easily on the top or on the bottom, just depending on what I am looking to do. This raises and lowers relatively easily. The machine is relatively quiet compared to running a router. Dust collection works well. I can aim all of the chips into the hood here. It's got 2 table wings. This is an older machine with a huge motor. Ideally, I'd love to have just a slightly bigger pulley system on this. So I think this runs at about 9,000 RPM. I'd love to get this up to 11,000 RPM because that's about the limit for this. And I just like using it. The table doesn't vibrate. It leaves a really clean cut. It does take up a little bit of space in the shop, but I also then use this as sort of a prep area as I'm working on other tools. We'll go ahead and give you a couple videos of it in action.
So yeah, using this bit is definitely terrifying. I'm going to set the height. The top has been shaped first, and then what I do is I go onto the edge where I know there's going to be no chance of it getting ripped out of my hand. So if I start in that curve there, it's just a bad angle to start. If you start on the far edge, really have no chance of it moving. And so that's how you'll see me as I've run this through. I'm starting on that far edge, and then I'm going to try and aim the chips into the dust hood and the top parts. I really struggle with. And I go really slow. This is full speed. Not trying to do anything too quickly. That curve is a little bit of a pain, but it just fits in there perfectly. Trick is to hold the bearing with constant contact on the wood. And then that horn is a little bit of a pain, which is why I put the piece of wood back into the pocket there and went through. Again, you always want to cut as much as you can so that there's not that much to route or shape or whatever you want to call it. Just go slow and make sure that you aim the chips second, but hold the bit first and the wood, and that you've got complete control of it. Me aiming the chips is just sort of secondary to me controlling the wood against the bit.
It's amazing what you can find on the internet these days. All of the baby boomers are getting slightly older in age, and they are starting to churn some tools. So this was a gentleman who just wasn't using the tool the same. Found it on eBay Marketplace. I paid about $300 for the bit, $500 for the tool. I could probably sell one of the wings if I wanted to. I've got another one sitting here, but I don't need it all on this side. Really great deal. So if you guys are looking to upgrade your shop, it's actually on a nicely built rolling base as well. There are a lot of tools on Facebook Marketplace right now for guys that are getting out of building. So I don't know if I'll be buying any more new tools per se. Some of these bigger, older tools, if you've got the space, they work awesome. So a Delta Shaper. This is made in Milwaukee, Rockwell. So this must be from, I think the 70s. Serial number says 752096. Not exactly sure, but great old heavy tool. They do not make things like this anymore. The Grizzly Shaper I had a small belt, different pulley system. Really didn't like the way that was built. This one is outstanding. So look at Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, whatever. Some really great tools for building guitars. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.